Hello everybody, my name's Craig. I'm a koala keeper here at Healesville Sanctuary, bringing you today a special online version of our koala talk. Joining me I have one of our favourite koalas here at the sanctuary, Nuji. So Nuji is a 5-year-old male koala. He has had a bit of a rough start to his life. He came into us as a rescue animal when he was just a little joey. Unfortunately, when he was very young, he was actually hit by a car as a wild koala, but was picked up by a wildlife rescuer, brought into our hospital here on site, and was given the all clear by our vet team after a little while, and was given over to one of our keepers to be hand raised. So unfortunately, coming in at such a young age, he was unable to be released in the wild again, but that's why he stayed here with us. Now if he happens to turn around, you might be able to see the result of that sort of rough start to his life is that he has quite a crooked face. So he actually came in with quite a bad broken nose, which is healed up now, but he's always just going to be a little bit crooked. Koalas are one of the most specialised feeders of any animal in the world, so they're going to eat pretty much exclusively these eucalyptus leaves right from when they're really young. Not long after they leave their mother's pouch, they're going to start eating those eucalyptus leaves, and it's going to need to sustain them basically for the rest of their life. They're going to eat pretty much nothing else. They obviously need to be really strong climbers to live up in those eucalyptus trees, so they have a few special adaptations for that. One of those things that makes koalas such great climbers is basically their specially adapted hand. So you might be able to get a good look at Nuji's hand while he's standing there. So just like us, they have those 5 digits, but where we have that one opposable thumb for gripping, koalas have actually got 2 on each hand, which gives them basically double the grip that we have. But they've also got those nice long sharp claws that you can see there, which are really important for gripping onto the bark on some of those trees as well. Otherwise they're just never going to make it up to the top of those trees where those leaves are waiting for them. So even though koalas are pretty inactive for most of the day, so around 18 to 20 hours a day you can expect them to be sleeping, when they are awake they can be quite active. They can move around a lot, searching for the freshest leaves, their favourite kinds of leaves, and whenever they are finished eating they're probably going to go straight back to sleep pretty much. So pretty much their 2 main activities, eating and sleeping. You're not going to see them do much else for most of the time. I'm here with Emily now, one of our adult females here at the sanctuary. She's one of our older girls here. She's actually had a few joeys before in the sanctuary. And I was just going to talk to you a little bit about koala breeding season, which is the one time of the year we start seeing our koalas' behaviour change a little bit, particularly our male koalas. So during this time of the year, starting around September or October, finishing up around March or April, so just winding down now, we start to notice a few changes in our koala boys. And one of those changes we start noticing is that they start vocalising quite a lot. So for anybody who has never heard a Koala Bellow before, definitely check that out. They can make that bellowing sound for a couple of different reasons. They can make that to call out to other male koalas, basically as a way of advertising their territory, saying these are my trees, this is my area, don't come near me. A good way to avoid having a physical confrontation with other male koalas because they can be quite territorial. But they can also use it as a mating call. So if a male koala can sense that a female is getting ready to breed, coming into her estrus cycle, he'll use that bellowing sound to call out to her to try to attract her. If he's successful, they will come together and they will mate. Usually only takes a couple of minutes and that's all they need, and then they'll go their separate ways, possibly to never see each other again. And then that female koala, like Emily, is then left to raise that young all by herself. So koala females, like all marsupial mothers, they have a really short gestation period. So for koalas, it's only around 32 to 35 days, a really short amount of time for a pregnancy. And after that time, they give birth to a really tiny, really underdeveloped young called a joey. If you can imagine something that is about the size of a jelly bean or the size of your thumbnail, about that big. It's completely furless, so it's pink all over. It doesn't have properly formed limbs yet. It doesn't have properly functioning eyes or ears. But what it does have, right from the day it's born, is a really strong sense of smell, and it's got some strong little forearms, even though they're not completely developed yet. And it's actually going to make the climb from the birth canal where it's born up into the mother's pouch without any help from the mother. The joey's responsible for that one all by itself. Once it gets into the pouch, it's going to attach to a teat in there and start drinking milk, and it's going to stay in that pouch, doing all of its growing and all of its developing for the first few months of its life, so that when it is ready to emerge, it'll come out looking something like a smaller version of an adult koala, instead of looking like a little pink jelly bean. But that little koala Joey then needs to go from drinking nothing but its mother's milk for the first few months of its life, to eating nothing but these eucalyptus leaves for the rest of its life. So what happens when that Joey's around 7 months old? The mother will actually start producing a special kind of formula called pap, and that little Joey's going to come out of the pouch especially to feed on that. And what that is basically a special runny kind of poo that looks a little bit like diarrhea. And the little Joey's going to come out, feed on that directly from the mother. It's going to nuzzle up to her. And that's a really good way, as disgusting it is, as it sounds, for that mother koala to pass on the good bacteria in her gut, kind of like a good probiotic, pass that on to her Joey, and that's going to allow that Joey to then start digesting those eucalyptus leaves. So Emily's currently displaying pretty much the koala's favourite activity, and that is sleeping. So around 18 to 20 hours every day you could expect koalas to be asleep. Whenever they're not sleeping, it's usually because they've woken up to have a snack. They might do that several times throughout the day and the night. Wake up to eat, go back to sleep, wake up to eat, go back to sleep. So it's not unusual to see our koalas sleeping for most of the day. One challenge that our koalas are facing out in the wild every day is the loss of their habitat. But one simple conservation action that you can all do at home is to make the pledge to switch to using 100% recycled toilet paper, if you can get your hands on some at the moment. By doing that, it's a really good way of making sure those koalas' trees that they rely on for their home and for their food are kept in the ground where they belong, and we can source our toilet paper in other ways. And from all of us here at Healesville Sanctuary, we hope that you can stay safe. We're taking care of our animals, so we're hoping that pretty soon you guys will be able to come and see us again out here. In the meantime, look after each other. Thanks, guys.